We're at the nursery today and we are completing some plantings along this edge where we're planting fruit trees, nitrogen fixers, bioaccumulators, some bananas, and pollinator attractants. And we're planting a pomegranate right now. And a lot of people ask us about how to plant fruit trees, or when they purchase a fruit tree, how to plant it correctly. And the best way we found is how we're going to explain right now. So what we did over here is we dug a hole a little bit wider than the pot size that we had. This was a 7-gallon over here. So the hole is a little bit wider and we loosened up a lot of soil in the bottom. It's hard to see, but maybe if I put this in, you can see that the hole is not very deep. Around half of the size of the pot still sticks out to soil level. So that's about as deep as you want to go, but you want all the soil in there to be pretty loose. And then we mound up the excess soil on the outside, and we add some trace minerals in the form of rock dust, some chicken manure as an initial, nitrogen providing fertilizer, and also some mycorrhiza inoculant just to get the plant established. So this is the plant. I loosened up it's a pomegranate, so it's a really hardy plant. It was grown from a cutting, so it doesn't have a taproot, and it's been in this pot for a while. So I just, with the shovel, cut a lot of the roots in the bottom, but depending on how rooted your plant is, you can just loosen around the bottom of the pot like that. So I'm gonna set it in and choose a good orientation. Maybe we want it more like that, Raleigh?
A little bit more.
Like that?
A little bit more.
Like that?
Good.
Okay, because we want it growing like along the fence. So as you can see, the plant is not buried completely under the soil level, and the reason being is that the roots always in Florida and in the tropics as well, they need to breathe. When we have a lot of rain during the rainy season, this area may accumulate a lot of water and may get saturated, and then the roots don't have a chance to breathe, and some plants are really sensitive to that. So that's why we keep the fruit trees a little bit raised up. And the other reason being that in Florida, because of the sandy soil, when you dig a hole over time, plants sink because there's a lot of air pockets in between the sand. So if you plant it a little bit higher, over a period of time, it will naturally level out. So what I'm going to do right now is I'm going to grab compost or a potting mix or a good soil, and I'm going to mount this plant up instead of what usually a lot of people do and what you would do up north, which is actually packing the plant into a hole. You want to keep it a little bit raised.
How many fruit trees would you say that you've planted like this in your time being in Florida?
I don't know, probably like 60.
And have you noticed a bigger success rate or establishment?
Yeah, especially with plants like that are sensitive to flooding, like avocados. It is really beneficial. Mangoes and sapolillas, they appreciate it, but they still will do well even if they are not mounted. So notice I'm also not going to pack it in with my foot. I'm just kind of trying to get the soil to go in the leftover edge that was empty. Twist the tree?
Yeah.
Okay, 1 second.
Unless it's okay.
It's okay. It's a pomegranate. It will also grow a little bit scraggly.
Ah, you can show the flower right here.
Yeah. Okay. What you have leftover grass, you can also just put it upside down and it will just degrade over time. Okay, a couple more. So if Raleigh gets the camera down on the soil level, you will probably be able to see that the plant is a little bit raised. If this was an avocado, we would have probably raised it even more, because you want it on an actual mound, and that it stays on a mound, because avocados don't like wet feet. Good thing is this corner is pretty high in the property and it won't flood so easy.
Probably the highest corner in where the nursery is.
Okay, and then after you're done putting the soil, you will want to cover all of this with mulch.
What kind of mulch?
The best mulch is hardwood oak mulch or pine bark. Pine bark is just the easiest that you can get, you know, in the conventional hardware stores or garden centers. But oak mulch you get from the tree trimmers and from Tico or any other company that trims around the power lines. So that's a free resource that would otherwise go into the landfill and produce a lot of methane and CO2 emissions that we could be recycling into actually using as a fertilizer, fixing carbon, and recycling into building soil in Florida, which is essential because of the sandy nature of the soil. So yeah, this is how you plant a fruit tree ideally, and this is a resource that you can use depending on how much water or not you would like your plant to get. Of course, being raised, it needs some watering in the beginning, and that's why we also need mulch, because it's what's going to help the plant keep more moisture. We're done.
Now go plant your tree.